All the cities of Zurin have been occupied by her neighbours, Trentus, West Dweeba, and Crimsonia. Prince Adelbert has loaded his army, treasury, and what is left of his government onto transport ships, and is sailing away for ports unknown, escorted by the fleets of Dunbara and Ublicon. This coalition is under the command of the Graf Klapkatsa, a Maustrian loyalist who has become powerful in the government of Dunbara. Blocking their path are the squadrons of many allied nations. The royalist Maustrians are here to ensure that Zurin honours the treaty they have signed and pay the reparations for occupying Adorn and Garland. West Dweeba is here because they are concerned that the Zurinese army could be deposited in their territory, cause much mischief, and prolong the war. Burdain is here because their army are serving as West Dweeban mercenaries, and the navy has apparently been included in the deal. Crimsonia is here to oppose Ublico, whose intervention in a previous war caused much sorrow in the Democratic Republic. Manarth are here for reasons of their own, but primarily loyalty to Crimsonia, opposition to Dunbaran threats of piracy, and to maintain their reputation as the finest naval power in Mouse Ropa. The Allied fleet is strung out in a long line of battle, patrolling the route the coalition will need to take. They are not fooled when Klapkatsa fakes a movement south around Streetch Island, mostly because they do not notice the ruse. Klapkatsa and Prince Adelbert decide they need to attack and escape before the army on the transport starve and revolt. They decide to launch a series of fireships and break the enemy line in the resulting chaos. The fleets weigh anchor in the darkness and set out to the southeast, hoping to break the enemy line and escape to open water. The fireships do their deadly duty, exploding near the Burdanese squadron and severely damaging 2 ships of the line. The coalition fleet sails on, hoping to reach a gap that is opened between the northern squadrons and that of the royalist Maustrians. But the West Dweebans push into the gap and open fire. A devastating exchange of cannon, and the scene becomes confused by smoke and fire. The Ublicon and Dunbaran's fleets are primarily made up of brigs and frigates. Indeed, the coalition fleet has only 2 ships of the line, whereas the Allied fleet has many more large ships. In this close-range fire, the larger ships can last longer and do more damage. The vanguard of the coalition forces are rapidly destroyed, though they do great devastation in response. There is much shouting and signalling, and in general, chaos and confusion. A force of Ublicon frigates break the line and head off to the southeast, while Klapkatsa orders the transports to turn to the northeast to avoid the bulk of the enemy fire. While the Dunbaran vanguard sacrifices itself to take the attention of the Manarthian, Royalists and West Dweebans, the transports and the smaller Ublicon vessels engage the damaged Burdanese ships, capturing one, while they lose one of their own frigates on boarding to enemy. There are multiple explosions late in the battle as magazines are hit and ships simply disappear in a ball of smoke and flame. The Manarthian admiral hoists a final signal: victory, glory, death, before his ship of the line is fatally hulled and sinks beneath the waves. The West Dweebans signal in reply: the Prophet saves, glory. The battle has been costly for both sides. The Zurinese squadron has been destroyed, with only a single frigate, the Saviour, escaping the battle to the south. Ublicon has lost half its strength, with only 3 frigates surviving the battle. Dunbara has lost 2 squadrons of warships, with only 2 brigs and a frigate remaining afloat, although they did capture 2 heavily damaged ships of the line from Burdain, and a West Dweeban frigate. The Burdanese fleet has been wiped out, with the frigate escaping in a captured Dunbaran frigate. The West Dweebans have lost a frigate and a brig. The Royalists have lost a ship of the line, the Sivka. The Crimsonians have lost no ships, and took only superficial damage. Manarth has lost a full squadron, with only 2 frigates surviving the battle. None of the Zurinese transports were lost, but there are hardly any ships left to protect them, and no ships of the line. The captured vessels are heavily damaged and will need to be abandoned if the rest of the fleet have any hope of escape. As the sun begins to sink, the Allied fleet sets their sails to the northeast and begins the long pursuit of the transport. Klapkatsa's gambit has failed. Adelbert's army cannot escape to the open water.
To find something new in this wonderful year, to honor we call you as 3 men on shore. For who are so free as the sons of the waves? Are the bold our ships, jolly tars are our men. We always are ready, steady boys, steady. We'll fight and we'll conquer again and again. Come cheer up, my lads, kids to glory.